Episode 8 of Alien Earth begins with a xenomorph wandering through the forest. It doesn't eat some crabs, but does make good on the soldiers dotted around the island. Among those is Dame Sylvia, who heads to the gravesite to pay her respect to the children. However, she doesn't bank on the xenomorph sneaking up on her. Soldiers show and manage to shoot it though, saving her life. The xenomorph is still alive despite this, but things on Prodigy Island are going from bad to worse. Yutani have cut off their communications via Morrow, cutting the underwater trunk line, and Yutani itself jamming their satellites. Non-essential personnel have been evacuated from the island though, while all the hybrids are being kept in the same containment cell together. They discuss the implications of being kids in adult bodies, before Wendy suggests they should team up together and hit back against Prodigy. Atomines doesn't think grouping the kids up like this is a particularly good idea, as they're not sure how it will hold. He's also worried that they're understaffed, and all the while the xenomorph is picking off soldiers left, right and centre out in the field. Boy Cavalier refuses to evacuate any more people though, but he might have to as Wendy forces his hand. Now Wendy decides to communicate with the xenomorph from inside her cell and get herself out of this predicament. All the electronics are switched off immediately, and the xenomorph can hear her from the woods, running back to HQ. Now back in containment, Morrow awakens in the same cell as Joe. Wendy watches him on the monitors, mad about him shooting nibs. Smee though reassures her that he's one of them, and with one man guarding Morrow and a metal can on his arm serving as a weapon, Morrow effortlessly pushes open the door, knocks out the guard, and sets out to continue his plan where he left off. Now while all this is going on, Kirsch is in the lab just obliviously doing some electronic work. Morrow waltzes in through the front door though, and the pair wind up fighting. It's not much of a fight though in truth, as Morrow manages to easily subdue Kirsch. However, when he shoots one of the glass cages, something bursts out. Kirsch chokes out Morrow and knocks him unconscious, somehow. Anyway, Cavalier heads down to see the hybrids, and Wendy effortlessly opens the door with a snap of a finger. Cavalier discusses how he killed his own father at the age of 8 and took over the business for himself. He's always had daddy issues and clearly suffers from ADHD as well. Now unfortunately the single guard he's with isn't enough to stop all these hybrids, who easily dispatch him and then force Cavalier to run. They want to play a game of hide and seek here, as Wendy splits the group up to find the different characters and mediate what's happening. Now Smee and Slightly are tasked with heading to the lab, where they tie up Kirsch and knock out Morrow to make sure he's unconscious. And Nibs heads to see Dame Sylvia, while Wendy goes after Boy Cavalier. However, he has Atomines bring Joe to him, but it turns out to be a trap. You see, Ocellus breaks out the sheep corpse and chases after Joe around the room. Of course, he's saved by Wendy at the last second before that can happen. Now Atomine shows up too, but Wendy manages to control the android's programming to stop him attacking. Apparently he's on the same network as the rest of the electronics on the island, so it's easy for her to hack in. Now the eyeball creature manages to slip away in the midst of all this chaos, heading right down to the beach where it takes control of Arthur's dead body. All the while, the xenomorph manages to break into the facility and begins killing what's left of the soldiers. Wendy explains to Joe that she likes the xenomorphs more than people because they're at least honest. Joe reminds Wendy that humans are food to it, but she's not a human and stuck in an in-between area where she's not sure on herself and doesn't really fit in. Alone, Boy Cavalier heads to his airship, but he's stalked by the xenomorph, who eventually catches up. When a few other soldiers show too, the xenomorph goes for them first and moves past Cavalier without killing him. Now Wendy and Joe show too, while Rashidi and the other soldiers head right to the lab and open the containment cells. Naturally, they're killed for their stupid efforts, while Curly is here too and knocks the remaining soldier out. And Yutani heads in with a bunch of soldiers ready to attack from the air, while Wendy has Dame Sylvia, Morrow, Boy Cavalier, Kirsch and Atomines all together inside the same containment cell. The xenomorph is also here too, just hanging out like Spider-Man on the side. The camera then zooms into Wendy's face as she decides that from now on, they're going to rule over them, which is where season 1 of Alien Earth comes to an end. So with Alien Earth coming to a close, the show commits the biggest sin of all. It wastes everybody's time with absolutely no resolution. I appreciate that Noah Hawley has said in previous interviews that he and the other writers want a 4-season arc, and viewership has been decent enough to warrant that, but with no official word just yet, it's frustrating that nothing has really been resolved. Even worse though, none of the character or plot arcs go anywhere meaningful. We hard cut away from the ship, where the xenomorph could have attacked and killed those soldiers and saved Wendy. Instead, she lets herself get captured with the others, who are all kept together for some reason in these massive cells, and then they easily break out anyway. In fact, Wendy goes full on Neo from the Matrix by the end of this episode, as she's able to hack communications, use her pet xenomorph to get what she wants, control androids, break out of cells with ease, and basically present herself as an almighty hero with few weaknesses. And that's before mentioning her super strength and speed. Yep, she is the absolute perfect Disney Mary Sue. But then of course that is on brand with Disney across pretty much all of their franchises, so I can't say I'm particularly surprised. Narratively though, it just makes her really boring to watch, and it's frustrating because we get glimmers of an internal struggle that could have been interesting to see play out, but the writers decide to just gloss over all of that. Now the best creature in the whole show is this eyeball Ocellus monster that finally gets to do something though by taking control of Arthur, but then we cut to black and have no idea what happens next. The episode is also chock full of inconsistencies and issues, just like the rest of the season. Now Mori's entire capture was stupid to begin with last episode, but then this time they leave him in a cell with Joe, guarded by one person with a potential weapon attached to his hand and no restraints. Of course he was going to bust out of that door without any issues. The sloppy writing can basically be summed up by every big plot moment in the show, orchestrated by dumb people making dumb decisions to drive the dumb narrative forward. But then forward might actually be the wrong word here, because that would denote that we actually get some character or plot growth. Instead, we resolve absolutely nothing, have no answers, and end on a cheesy one-liner from Wendy as well. There are so many interesting ideas in Alien Earth 2, which is why it makes it so frustrating, because none of them have really been explored in any detail or in a way that makes for engaging TV. It's incredibly disappointing to say that as a huge fan of the Alien franchise, because this show had a lot of potential, but unfortunately it falls flat across the board. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.